adage, for every kudu you can see, there's two in the bush you can't. They are incredibly adept at just melting into their surroundings, and nicknamed the Grey Ghost. Well, they are ghosting off into some thickets. Now, unfortunately, we had to disappear a little bit earlier. We had a bit of an antenna malfunction. Oh no, there it is. I was telling you about the flower I found. There we go. Eden has told you it's so cool. Sorry, it was about to blow away. It's so cool, it doesn't even have a common name. It is called a Hemizygia pretoria. Now, Hemizygia pretoria. Now, the really cool thing about this flower is the smell. And when you crush the leaves up a bit, so lovely. Ryan, would you like a smell? It smells like coconut oil, or like Pisbane sun cream. Very, very nice, and you can use it in potpourri, and it's the only real use for it. You can dry the leaves. That smell does have a residue, and it can be used in potpourri. Not something I know much about, potpourri. Do you know how to make potpourri, Brian? No. I don't know anyone who knows how to make potpourri. Maybe my gran knows how to make potpourri. But we're going to keep moving. Oh. Hold on, guys. We're on our way. Sorry, I just need to be on the game drive. It's a bit loud. Well done, Zay. I'm also going to be joining you. Okay, there's a surprise! Hold on, we're on a Ferrari safari. Okay, sorry, I just had to make sure. Okay, hold on. We're going to get there as soon as possible. It's a little bit far. Oh, Rexon's beating me. He's on the way. Oh, no, I have to eat dust now. Darn it, Rexon. Oh dear. I think we're going to have to use our V8 petrol to beat his 4.2 diesel. I'm going to have to use a different route. Okay, so we're going to shoot as fast as we can and try not to eat too much of Rexon's dust. While we do that, let's go back to Taylor and the incredible Nkuhumas.
Brent, I can't see why you wouldn't want to eat any of Rexon's dust because, well, dust is just so tasty and, of course, so delicious. Now, we're still with the Nkuhumas, and not much has changed, unfortunately. They're still sleeping, and we've just changed an angle to get a bit of shade ourselves. And, well, we're happy to sit here for a little bit longer until there are many more guides coming to the sighting, and then, we'll have to head on out. But for the moment, we've got it all to ourselves, so we will just take a deep breath and enjoy the beautiful nature and these cubs. VM, I don't know if I like it here. Can you see that big paddy over there? Now, sadly, that is not buffalo dung. That is, of course, lion feces, and you can see all the flies racing to it because it's the most delicious thing that they have tasted all day long. It is like a buffet. But we're getting a few little whiffs every now and then. But we'll try not to smell it for too much longer. And it seems as though we are downwind again of the lions, so let's hope that they don't, create any more wind than we've got this afternoon. Now remember, we are on a live safari and I'd love to hear from you. And if you have just started watching for the first time and you don't know too much about the Nkuhumas, well, you're welcome to ask me. And you can do so by hashtagging Safari Live, or you can send any questions through to questions@WildEarth.tv. Now I must tell you though, the people that know more about the Nkuhumas than I do, of course, are the loyal viewers that we've had over the many, many years. So they always help me out. So you'll hear me asking them questions every now and then. And it's nice. I love the fact that we can all help each other. But it is a real cat pile at the moment. I can't believe that they've all snuggled up like this on such a hot day. And here comes another vehicle entering the sighting. And we're one step closer, of course, to getting the Nkuhumas back onto Djuma, where they belong, where their territory is strong within that property. Because if they hang around on Arathusa for too long, they might run the risk of running into the Tsalalas. Even though the Tsalalas will be well outnumbered with the two, well, no, not really. They've got 3 young males. But of course, they don't have any cubs. And we know what these lionesses are like and what they will do to protect their cubs from anybody else. So I'd be a little bit nervous to try and challenge these ladies. Now we're looking at these big tummies, and maybe this is a good opportunity to have a look. Now, Leandri, you were wondering how many of these lion cubs are males and how many are females. Now, the last time that I checked, I could only find 1 male. And I did see him sit, I can't really see. Is that him there on the right? A little bit further. That looks like it's a male with a big belly. Let's go, and then I can see a little girl. I can see another little girl. It's a bit hard to tell, but I reckon that most of these cubs are all females, and I've definitely only seen 1 male. But every time since I've been back at work and I've tried to have a look at them, unfortunately they were covering up, so we couldn't see their bits that make them either male or female. You can see very clearly now that that's a little boy. And it will get much easier, though, as they get older, especially if they're boys, because you're going to start to see their chests getting quite hairy. The hair is going to grow longer and on the side of their faces. And, well, I can tell you for sure that that little one is definitely not a boy. Is that a... No, that's a little girl. Looks like a little girl too. We'll have to see. Most of these look like girls, barring the one. But there is one little cub that, unfortunately, I can't see because it's still cuddled up near Mom. Over there, hiding behind the bushes. So I'm going to go with 5 girls and 1 boy, but I stand under correction. Maybe some of you have got some good screenshots, and since I was on holiday and since I've come back, I think I've only seen them once or twice, and they've been lying in the thicker vegetation. So maybe you've had a look with either Jamie or Brent or James or even Byron, and you were able to get a better idea at the sexes of the cubs, especially now that we unfortunately have lost 2. You can see my little flip-flop is flapping those ears. There's obviously some insects that are biting her. Keep flapping. Maybe there's some ants or something. And that's always a possibility. The lions never really look where they plonk themselves down. And that seems to be something that lions like to do quite often, is plonk themselves over after they've stood up. So maybe she's sitting on an ant's nest. Now, if we have a look at their beautiful little feet, you'll notice you'll notice, because I don't think noticed with a D is a word, that you can't see their claws. Now, Debbie from Arizona was wondering if they shed their claws and pull them off like a house cat does, and you're quite right, they do indeed. Scratching is a very important part of a lion's sort of daily activities. They'll go up to trees especially and sharpen their claws, and not only does it sharpen the claws, but Debbie, like you said, it removes the old nail sheath, and most importantly, it strengthens the tendons in their paws. So that's very, very important, especially for these little ones. At one point we almost saw them doing it a couple of times a day when we were sitting with it as they were climbing up trees. They absolutely love to do that, and I'm sure it must feel quite nice, especially for the youngsters too, like a big stretch first thing in the morning. Oh, and I'm sure you can hear all the flies that are surrounding us. So I am covering up my face because I know where they've been sitting. They've been on that lion feces and they've been on the buffalo carcass. So I do not want them anywhere near my mouth or in my nose or on my ears. Fast asleep. Now, I'm hoping that in a couple of minutes we're going to get a bit of action, but at the moment it's not really looking too promising. You can see they haven't really yawned or given us any signs of them waking up. So we'll just chat about a couple of other things. Now, Heather, you were wondering when will the lion cubs join the adults in hunting. Now, Heather, I don't know if you actually were watching, but I had the most incredible sighting. It was probably about a month ago. It was right in front, or near the dam cam, actually, just behind it. And the lionesses had caught a young buffalo out in the open. And, well, the adults were nowhere to be seen. We just missed it, though. But the little one was still alive. And it was the most incredible sighting I've seen of these lions, because the lionesses just sat close by. And they allowed the young cubs to come across and jump on the young buffalo calf's back and actually practice some of the maneuvers that they normally practice on themselves. So that was really amazing to see and different. I've never seen anything like that. You normally see it with cheetah, where the adults will bring back animals that they haven't quite killed properly to teach their young, and I have seen it with leopards too, but I've never seen it with lions. So that was a really interesting experience. However, normally, of course, there we go, the little claws coming out. Did you see that? Normally, the little cubs will start to join in at about 1.5 years. They'll start to go on the hunts, but they'll really just sit back and observe. And I always say this, but unfortunately, it's tougher and tougher for the adults, and their success rate drops even lower because these little cubs get so excited and eager, and they'll sort of run towards the animal that perhaps the lionesses and the big male lions have been stalking for ages, and completely ruin the hunt because they got too excited and ran too early. And that's probably my next thing now, is I love to see the cubs when they're little, and I mean, I don't think anybody doesn't enjoy tiny little lion cubs. But the next thing that I'm looking forward to is watching these cubs get to 1.5 years and start going out on the hunts, because it is hysterical. You can actually almost see the frustration in the adult lionesses' faces, sort of just how annoyed they get when the little ones dash on in. Like I said, they get too excited and often ruin the hunts. But the look of eagerness on the little cubs is just absolutely priceless. And they just think that they're doing a sterling job as well. And that's what's going to happen now in summer, is because it's so much hotter now, we're not going to see them as active and feeding on the carcasses as early. I think they're going to save it until as it gets a little bit cooler. Well, let's see what this lioness does now. No, just turning over and plonking back down. But I suspect that they will only get moving a little bit later. All wriggling around. You can see there's definitely something that's bothering them, whether it's the flies or biting ants. It could be anything, really. I'm annoyed with just the flies. So if I was a lion, or any animal, I don't think I'd sit still ever. I'd just be moving around, swatting, kicking, biting, doing all the things to try and get rid of all the little parasites. Now at the moment, even though these cats look very flat and sleepy, don't be fooled by that. And I know that Sandeep was wondering if lions mainly hunt during the day or at night. Now, Sandeep, it's a little bit more than that. Lions are like leopards, of course, and the other cats. They're opportunistic feeders. So what that means is that they take any opportunity that they can get to try and catch something. Whether they're unsuccessful or successful or not, that doesn't really matter, but they will make an attempt. So even though they're fast asleep here and they have got a kill, if something like a warthog or another buffalo were to come walking through here, sort of unaware of these sleepy cats, they'd probably get up and try and have a go. And it doesn't matter that it's so hot either. So ideally, they would hunt on a night where there's no stars or moon and thick cloud cover, because they have the upper hand. They're able to see very, very well at night. I was reading the other day that lions are able to see in light 1/6 of that of a human needs to see in the evenings at night. So how crazy is that? So that's how little light these cats need to be able to move around and hunt successfully, is 1/6 of the light that we as humans need to see when it is dark. I thought that was absolutely incredible. So yeah, so they can hunt really at any time of the day. And it depends on sort of the area as well. Out here, the lions, it's quite easy for them to hunt during the day because there's lots of shrubs and things and tall grass at the moment for them to hide behind. But it can get quite difficult, I think, if you've only got massive open plains with very short grass. Perhaps you're experiencing a little bit of a drought. Then it would be really tough, and you'd probably have to try and hunt a little bit later in the day when you have got the cover of darkness, especially if you're a male lion. Because if you're just hunting in short grass during the day, you're not going to be able to conceal yourself very well, and everything from a mile away will spot you and alert the rest of the animals of your presence. I reckon, though, that these Nkuhumas are probably going to rest here for most of the afternoon. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and have a scratch around and see if we can't maybe find some elephants. That was something that I was really hoping to see today. And if we hear of these lions getting active or moving around at all, well, then we'll certainly come and pop back past. But it was lovely for them just to poke their heads out and say hello. I know you've all missed them just as much as I have. But maybe we see them again a little bit later, and I'm sure we'll follow up on them again in the morning. But I think that Evia is probably missing all of you. I've been hogging you with the lions. So let's go back across and see how his afternoon walk is treating him.
Hello, hello. We're at a watering hole again. Don't worry, I'm not going to swim this afternoon. It's been nice and hot, but I'm not looking to get wet again. Wet and dirty. Once a day is good enough. There are some terrapins in the water though. You can just see the heads bobbing up, just out, getting a bit of air, maybe waiting for something to come in. Maybe later somewhere a buffalo or something will come past here and walk into the water. That allows these guys to catch, maybe take the ticks off them. I've seen a terrapin actually propel itself out the water to take a tick off a buffalo. So they're quite little busybodies. One thing with terrapins though, never try and catch them. They smell horrible. You get that stuff on your hands, it takes a few washes to get that off. Let's move past here. Let's see if we can maybe see a nice clear track of something that visited. Annie, you are asking where I went to school and how long I've been a guide. I've been guiding since 2009. I went to a guiding school in the Waterberg, a couple of hours north of Johannesburg, called Limpopo Field Guide Academy. And I did my basic training there, and I've been lucky that I've had a couple of mentors in the process. In the last 4 years, I've met a couple of very influential people in my career, and they've helped me grow to what I've become today. So yeah, I went to school, high school I went to in a place called Potchefstroom. I went to Potchefstroom Gymnasium. That's in the northwest province, about an hour's drive west of Johannesburg, and grew up on a farm not far from there. So that gives you a bit of an idea. Luckily, I've been outdoors for most of my life, but I think I told you that yesterday on the drive. It looks like, let me just have a closer look here. What has come to drink here? The track is a little bit obscured. Might be, it looks like a wildebeest maybe came past here. The track that I can see, a wildebeest has got quite a square shape to the track. If you look at this, you can almost draw a little box around it, and it fits in perfectly. Doesn't angle too much in. The males have a very square foot, so you can see that immediately. But yeah, nothing very clear, just this one or two tracks that we can look at. I think it's wildebeest. There are a couple of birds in the distance, some francolins calling. I think all the birds. Lady Lone Wolf, you are asking how long it took to get all that mud off. Well, a couple of showers. First I went to an outdoor shower, spent maybe 5 or 10 minutes trying to get majority of that off, dried up again, and then went through a normal shower and got clean. But it took a while, and I must say it was very nice and exfoliating. It has been a lovely afternoon out in the bush with you. I'm so glad I could have shared that with you. We're going to head over to Taylor for an update. Have a lovely evening.
We're going on a bumble to Red Dam. We're heading there and hope to find some elephants in the dam. That's my little song for this afternoon. I just sometimes get a small amount of inspiration that comes through, and well, then I'm lucky enough that it comes together and it rhymes. So, as my song said, which I cannot remember one of the words to, we're going to Red Dam to see if there are any elephants, or well, maybe our friends the white-faced whistling ducks are there. I quite enjoy them. They're a nice bird to have a look at. Maybe they're, or maybe that three-banded plover is chasing the wood sandpiper around. That could be quite exhilarating. But I need to, we shall give this vehicle way. We'll just pull off the road very quickly, be nice and polite. And then we will carry on with our adventure to Red Dam. Hello everybody, have a nice afternoon. What did you see them? Guinea fowl. Where were they? Oh, look at that. That's really cool. It is a guinea fowl, well spotted, jumping off of a fallen tree. And well, like we see the leopards and lions and kudu and all sorts of things climbing up to higher places to have a scout around, well, something like a guinea fowl will do exactly the same thing. And of course, I think that they need to do it more than everything else, seen as they're further down on the food chain. And the guinea fowl and its bright blue head are disappearing behind some shrubs. So we won't get too distracted. We'll carry on with our bumble towards Red Dam. Now I'm just looking where I need to turn. Where do I go? Here. Well, I just turned right here. I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to go, but we'll go here. Now, Ilana, who is 13 years old, hello, you were wondering what do we need to do before we come out on a sunset safari. Now, the most important thing you have to do is apply sunscreen. You've got to put lots and lots of that on, because even though it's summer and we're starting the drives a little bit later, you wouldn't think that the sun would be so harsh, but unfortunately it is. So it's always good to lather up, and you don't see it very often, but VM and I, we keep applying sunscreen all the time. And well, then you just sort of make sure that you've got all your goodies. I've got a big outdoor case. It's a waterproof sort of box, and inside that box it has got my camera, it's got some books, it's got hand lotion, because I like to try and keep my hands soft like a baby's bottom. And it's not at the moment though, because I got a new tire today, so my hands are filthy from doing that before drive. And then you've got to do checks. So we drive these beautiful cars, but we have to make sure that they're in good running order. And in order to do that, so I'm just going to check the GPS one more time. We'll go to this one. Are we going the right way, VM? Well, we'll go on this one until we get somewhere. No, I think we need to go right there. Sorry, I'm changing my mind. So, like I was saying, you go to lift up the hood of the vehicle, check the oil, check the water, power steering fluid, check all other goodies, make sure that the tires are fine, that there's no punctures that you maybe have, and make sure, we have a variety of checks. Should I do my checks with you? So, Louise or Kirsty or Rebecca or Jerry will say in my ear, right, Taylor, are you ready for your checks? Then I go, yes, I am. And then I have to start. So this is what I do. And this is now once I've obviously got myself in the vehicle. I put my sunscreen on, I've got my water, I've got my box with my books, and now it's ready to do the vehicle check. So I do my thumbs up, I say I'm ready, and today it was Louise that I was talking to, and I said, my earpiece seems to be okay, my comms are wonderful, all the fluids are top to the brim, I've got air in my 4 tires, and this afternoon I said, and I'm on my way to collect a new spare tire, and one that I wouldn't break. And what else? And then I have a fire extinguisher, rain covers, first aid kit, and a panga/machete, because you've got to be very specific when it's Louise with a panga/machete. She thinks, well, I don't know what Louise actually thinks about the two, but it's just a little joke we have. And then she'll give me the go ahead and say, right, fantastic. Then I have to clap, clap, and tap, tap. You're seeing all the behind the scenes things now that I'm doing for you, so they can check if we're in sync. And then VM does all his checks as well for the camera. And then, well, we're normally set to go, but I have a ritual, and everybody laughs at me, because once I've done all those checks and everything is for away, the last thing I do is I get back out the vehicle again, I go to the bathrooms, and I wash my hands. I'm so OCD, but I didn't get to do that today. Well, I didn't do it very well. Something is dirty in here because my hands are filthy at the moment. But yes, that's what I normally do. So, Alana, I hope that answers your question on exactly what I do every single day. Well, what all of us do as guides. Right. Are we far from Red Dam? I don't even know where we are. You don't think we're going to... Oh, you know where we are? We are on parallel north. Okay, that's fine. We're going the scenic way around to Red Dam. That's okay. Right, now, finally, Brent has managed to get where he's got to after racing off and eating Rex's dust. Let's take a look.
Look at this. Isn't this incredible? It looks like young Hosana, and he's playing on a fallen down tree above a pan. And I think it is definitely young Hosana. No sign of Shongile. We've just got here. It was quite far away from where we were. And just beautiful golden light on this young male leopard. No sign of his mother or his sister. He's growing up so quickly. Remember, this is a live African safari. You can get hold of us by using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. or pop us an email to questions@wildearth.tv. Where's your mother, mister? And your sister, for that matter. Oh, a woodlands kingfisher just dived into the pan next to Hosana there. Now, James is wondering, now that Krula's been mating, and if she happens to become pregnant from this set of mating, would she tolerate Hosana around another set of cubs, or would she force him to move off? It's far more likely she would force him to move off. He is a threat to other cubs, young cubs. He would probably kill them and maybe even eat them. It is not uncommon for young male leopards, to eat leopard cubs. How's it, Craig? Good. Hi, everyone. There you go. He's having a drink. Let's try and move into a different spot. Now he is just behind the log, but I think we might get a nice view through the gap there. How's that, Brian? There we go. Hello, Mr. Hosana. Isn't he absolutely gorgeous? Now, it is unusual for him to be... He's probably been on his own for about 5 or 6 days now that his mother's been mating. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, whether she comes back to them. I think she will come back to the cubs, even though she has been mating. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Hopefully we will be there for the reunion. Prim coming. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? So he is able to survive at the moment. He'll be catching dwarf mongoose, squirrels. I mean, I heard he actually even caught a duiker, so an adult duiker, which is a really big meal for a young male leopard like him. But there has been records of young males being independent from as young as 9 months, not 6 months, 9 months old and surviving. But there's something, obviously, I think, maybe a terrapin or a tortoise that's attracting his attention, under there. Hi, Nora. Nora wonders, does it look like he's full, or is he eaten recently? Nora, he doesn't look too unfull. He's not too bad. He could definitely do with a meal, but he's by no means starving just yet. So guys, I just need to, I'm the only vehicle here, I just need to control the guys coming in quickly. Mike, you and Ephraim are standby 1 and 2. Prim, if you copy, you can make your way straight in. Hilton is approaching at the moment. There we go, there he is. Oh, he looks like he's off on a mission again. So you can see he definitely has looked like he has eaten something, but he is by no means a very fat cat at the moment. Oh, is he stalking something in there? Is there unsuspecting little critter in that tree fall? Now, Virginia is wondering if he is not already at an age where he will disperse away from his mother's natal area. No, Virginia. At this age, he would get absolutely torn apart by the first female leopard he came upon, let alone a big adult male. He needs to be over 2 years old and be quite a lot bigger. He's still a little bit smaller than his mum. He needs to be substantially bigger before he has a really good chance of successfully dispersing. Let's just shoot around. Get a good view of him. He is definitely turning into one of my favorites. He has got quite the little character that's developing. And one must remember, like lots of different things, the individual leopards here will have individual characters. And sometimes, oh, there we go. Look at that! Oh, he just jumped across the pan. As I said, he's developing this wonderful little character as he gets older. He's after a terrapin. He's going for a terrapin. This could be how he's been surviving. Oh, it's gone into a bit deeper water for him there. Now, he would not get much meat out of that, but while his mother's not here, there is a chance he would get enough to survive. So maybe he's been going from wallow to wallow, munching on the terrible tasting terrapins. There we go. So the terrapin's popped its head up again. Oh, it popped its head down. There you can see the movement there. That's the terrapin. And he's got his back to young Hosana. And Hosana's taken his eyes off the prize. Hi, Janie, who's our new viewer. Janie would like to know why terrapins don't hunt in packs. Why leopards don't hunt in prides like lions. Terrapins don't hunt in prides either, I promise. Sorry about that, Janie. I was concentrating on what I was watching and not what I was saying. Well, the reason they don't is they've developed to be solitary hunters. So for them, they're far more successful as a solitary hunter than they are as a group hunter. Then they don't attack things that are as big as lions, so they generally keep to smaller prey, medium to large, sometimes sized antelope. Oh, the terrapin's coming closer to him. I don't think he wants to get his feet wet though. He's keeping very still. A terrapin almost looks to be mocking, "You can't get me, I'm in the water." Now, of course, if he got hungry enough and desperate enough, he might go into that water and start fishing for that terrapin. Now, they do have quite a powerful bite, more of a nip. And I've seen them nip a buffalo trying to get ticks off their bodies that can create quite a lot of discomfort. There we go. Wouldn't it be funny if he leapt into the mud wallow just like F-Fair did this morning? Look at this, isn't this incredible? Terrapin just managed to gap it at the right time. Now this could be fascinating if he's been surviving on terrapins while his mom's been away. That is absolutely incredible. I have heard of leopards eating terrapins before, but very rarely. Oh, head's popped up. And as we're saying, I'm just talking about FW, and Cypriot is saying FW mentioned that the terrapins smell quite nasty. They do. Well, it's actually their dung, and their main defensive mechanism is to discharge the most foul-smelling, sickly, sticky dung, and that's what keeps them away. Well, helps to keep predators away. Oh, is he going to leap? It almost looked like he thought about having a leap across to that little island. Mr. Hosana, are you that desperate, boya? Now, of course, this is young Hosana, but Laura is wondering, does anyone know whether there's been a sighting of Shongile? Not that I've heard, Laura. I haven't heard of any sightings of the female for about a week now. Sorry about that, Brian. There's the terrapin. It's moved across. It's got a little spit of land in between. Oh, he's leaning up to try and see over. Now, he could easily make that leap, but he doesn't particularly want to get wet. Now, Kathy would like to know, do big cats not swim? It's not that they can't swim, and they just don't like swimming. And you must remember, a lot of animal behavior is area specific rather than species specific. So leopards that live in places like the Congolese rainforests and the Okavango Delta will regularly swim between islands. But leopards that live in the dry lowveld of South Africa don't swim very often, if they can help it at all. They would rather find a narrow spot where they can leap. Is that terrapin? I can't see where the terrapin is anymore. Prim, just check if that other mover behind you isn't with the one Sati, Karila. They spotted the terrapins having a big party on the opposite side to where he is. You can see they're frothing up the water underneath that log. A little bit more to the left there. There we go. You can see all the making a big ruckus, or as terrapin ruckuses go. Just trying to see what he's going to do. And he might come back towards us. We're going to have a look now. Let's roll forward ever so slightly. Now, Lady Macbeth says, food or wet water? Big decision. Steph? Steph, is just Karila's Mampimpan, just one here. Ingwe? FM. Copy, thanks. Well, there we go. That's an interesting update from the guys in the east. They have got Karula probably about 400 meters, 500 meters from here, but outside of our traverse. So, and still south of the boundary. So it's going to be interesting to see if she comes into this area now. Fingers crossed. Look at that. He's sitting in quite the, you know who used to sit like that? Think, Brian. Wasn't it Tigger? And Winnie the Pooh? I think he's sitting like Tigger. So he looks like he's sitting like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh at the moment. Stretching out his legs. Oh no, everything's happening. Sounds like there's another leopard just been found in Torchwood. I'm just going to try to see if we can find out who it is. So look at him, he's watching carefully. Now, I just want to find out from Mike which leopard that is. I think maybe it's that Tingana who we spent most of our time tracking. Mike, can you confirm that that's Tingana? Oh, he got his foot wet. Gobi, thanks. So it seems like Tingana, who've been tracking all afternoon, managed to sneak past us into Torchwood. He must have moved during the heat of the day. I think we were just 2 steps behind him, but fortunately, we're right next to the gorgeous young Hosana. You can hear the insects calling. Now, RC would like to know, does this pan have a name? Where is it? Well, it's the little bit of water that's behind Twin Dams itself. So it's between Gari Main and Twin Dams. Oh, it looks like he's just keeping his one paw in the water there. But we're going to sit here, see what happens. Maybe Karula's going to come back. While we do that, let's go see what Taylor's up to.
We've got the most relaxed impala herd just in front of us. And it seems as though the adults have moved away. And all the little ones were staring back at us, watching. And probably still learning what we are and are we something to worry about. These lot look very, very relaxed, so perhaps they've seen quite a few vehicles over the past couple of weeks, and now they're well used to us. I didn't see any teeny tiny impala lambs here. Some of them don't even, well, most of them didn't even have their umbilical cord anymore, so they must be a couple of weeks old. But off they go, not hanging around for too long, but just long enough that we were able to have a little look. Now we've left Arathusa. The Nkuhumas are still flat as anything, so I've decided that we'll probably come and look for something else. And well, what we were going to do is we were actually going to come and have a scratch for Tingana, but I believe that he very sneakily maneuvered obviously through all the drainage systems on Djuma this morning and gave us the slipperoo and is now in Torchwood. So that's a bit of a pity, but we'll go and have a look and see what else is out and about on Djuma on this beautiful afternoon. VM, what do you think about watching the sun go down this afternoon? Something we haven't done in a very long time. I don't know when I last actually saw a sunset, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll find a nice open area with a bit of an incline and get up on a high spot, and well, the highest spot on Djuma, and have a look into the distance and watch the beautiful sunset below all the trees. I think that will be a nice idea. But we need to get back on to Djuma. We've got a little bit of a way to go. Hello, Duran, who is from Colorado and is actually Dangerous Dave's friend. It's Dave's friend? Is it Dangerous Dave that we're talking about, Louise? Oh, not Dangerous Dave. We've got a visitor, David, in the final control, and it's one of his friends. Sorry about that. Now, you were wondering if we're looking out for, of course, any poachers and things. So that's something that we do quite often. And what we'll do is, because we're usually the first ones out on drive in the morning, it's something I've done at all the lodges I used to work at. Now, there's anti-poaching teams that are walking around, driving around in helicopters. They're doing all sorts of wonderful things. But one of the things you could do is, as you're driving around first thing in the morning and we're looking for the various animal tracks, you keep an eye out for fresh human tracks too. And if you spot anything that doesn't really look very much like the boot of an anti-poaching team, then you actually report it, because it could well be somebody that's walking around on here that shouldn't be walking around here. So we look out for different things like that. But yes, we're always scanning just to make sure, even though we're not an actual anti-poaching team, we're also out driving around every single day. So it's good to keep an eye out on the various animals. And well, we play a big role is in, of course, reporting anything. Like I said, we're the ones that are driving all over the show all the time. Right, Vim, I think we're going to take the next road in and start finding the perfect spot. Maybe we'll even go across to some open plains and see if impala and zebra, maybe if we're lucky, a wildebeest, maybe if they've started. Don't fly away. There's a fork-tailed drongo just sitting in front of us. Oh, you naughty little thing, you. Off it goes. There it is. It obviously didn't like us coming up too close to it, but a very easy bird to identify, of course, but you all know this, as the name suggests, forked-tailed drongo. It's got a beautiful fork in its tail and a bright red eye. And I hope that you catch many insects this evening. I suspect it will. Nice and warm, and well, we saw those lions twitching and flicking their ears and swatting their tails, so there must be a couple around at the moment. Right. I wonder what we're going to see around here. Now, wasn't it gorgeous looking at... Oh, hang on. Cindy, I'm going to answer your question. I look at the Drakensberg Mountains. Look how beautiful they are this evening. You can just see the tops of them over the trees. I love this time of the day. It's almost very hazy. The sky is just starting to change color now. Isn't this just a beautiful mountain range? And imagine what it must have been like a couple of 100 years ago, I'm not sure how long ago, when the animals were able to go all the way from the Sand River and the Sabi River, or even the Crocodile River, and make their way towards those beautiful Drakensberg mountains in the drier seasons in search of fresh springs that would probably develop at the base of that mountain. Isn't that beautiful? Now, sorry, Cindy, let me get back to your question. You were asking this afternoon, when do baby impalas get weaned from their mothers? Now, it's probably around, they'll start eating grass soon. You'll start to see them nibbling and getting used to the taste of the grass. But it's normally after a couple of months, but they get a bit cheeky, and I love to use the word cheeky. It's probably one of my favorite words. And you often see them well after 6 months still trying to sneak a suckle. But like we see with the elephants and even with the lion cubs, the adults become, or the mothers become a little bit sort of frustrated with them and will tend to kick them off and say, right, no more. And yeah, so it's normally around 6 months or so, then they're done and dusted and they're really just feeding on grass. But they grow so quickly. In the next 2 or 3 months, we probably won't even know the difference between the adults and the little ones. It always amazes me how the impala lambs, and it's vital that they do develop so quickly too, so that they can get on their way and, of course, be able to keep up with the herds. So the smaller you are, the easier you are of a target, and the adults are much quicker. So they grow very quickly and big and strong, which is quite nice. I think we're going to go across to the big open clearings just in front of the DRC. I think that will probably be the best spot. And we're not too far away from there either. Something else that we can keep an eye out for is just as the sun is going down, is maybe we see a couple of dwarf mongoose in some of these termite mounds that we're going past. You see all the little holes, something like that. I'm going to keep driving. We'll just sort of scan them as we go past, but we may see a couple of them sort of out and about in the last bit of light before they disappear back for the evening. They're unfortunately not nocturnal like their cousins, the white-tailed mongoose. No, nothing in that one. Let's have a look around here, and this big one. No, it doesn't look like there's any mongoose here either, but let's have a proper look. Nope, nobody's home over here. And we normally see dwarf mongoose along Philemon's cut line. They're often racing around here. Oh, it must be one of my favorite little animals. I think you saw some this afternoon though with Evia, if I'm not mistaken. Oh wow, Louise just told me that Evia was about 5 meters away from that. That's quite exciting. Oh my goodness. Look at that sneaky little steenbok. Hello, big boy. Oh, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Oh my goodness. And as he darts away, I've just spotted the female. So she's laying in the grass just to the left. And I don't think she's going to get up. I think she'll stay seated. I think she thinks that we can't see her. And if we were a leopard, hopefully the leopard's attention would have been drawn to the male that darted off. And the female will just sit there quietly hoping that the wind is not in the leopard's favor, whatever it may be. I always love their big bulgy eyes. But look how camouflaged she is. I mean, if she doesn't move, you would never even notice that she was there. That is just absolutely incredible. And we're seeing a lot of it at the moment, where the male and female steenbok have come together, and hopefully we'll see a couple of little steenbok lambs. I mean, those are absolutely precious. And maybe that'll be a first for some of you. I think I can even count on my hands how many steenbok lambs I've seen. It's not a very common thing. they become very secretive and hide their little ones away. Right, let's carry on. We've got a few more termite mounds to check to see if there are any dwarf mongoose in them. Now, Claire from Ohio, seen as though we've been seeing so many impala this afternoon, you were wondering if the locals actually hunt and eat impala in the area. They do indeed. Oh, and speak of impala, there are a couple of them just off into the thicket. They will indeed catch something like an impala, but in this area that we're in, the Greater Kruger area and the Sabi Sand, this is all protected. So we're not allowed to do any hunting or anything along those lines. In here, we can just shoot them with our cameras and view them with our eyes. That is the only thing we're allowed to do. But they will. Back when this used to be all local and indigenous land, they most definitely would have captured something like an impala, maybe even something a little bit bigger, like a kudu or even a zebra, because remember, when they'd go out to hunt and bring something back, they'd be bringing back to cater for most likely most of the village. So something like an impala wouldn't really go too far. So ideally, if they could catch a kudu, or like I said, maybe a zebra, or even some of the bigger antelope species, but you have to go a bit further north to see them, maybe a sable or an eland, they would have definitely brought those home. And that, of course, would have lasted for quite some time, and they would have been able to have had a big feast. Now, I don't know if any of you have tasted impala or any of the antelope species. Now, me personally, I prefer the antelope species just because, and this is obviously quite controversial, but a lot of our meat these days is so filled with hormones, you don't actually know if you're eating anything real. And the nice thing is that these antelope are left to do their own thing, live in the bush, and of course maybe they're in an area where there are no predators, then they'd need to be culled, and then that meat will get passed by a vet to make sure that there's no parasites or anything along those lines that have infested the meat, and then cleared to head to a butchery or whatever it may be. And I can tell you it's probably a lot healthier than eating than eating beef and all these things that are farmed. Look at the white-crested helmet shrikes, but that's of course just my opinion. I think it's a lot healthier. And I can't believe they're actually sitting so still. I didn't think that was going to last very long. Hello, beautiful birds. All chatting away, having a little chirp. That was lovely just to have a quick glimpse of the white-crested helmet shrikes. That's one of the more difficult birds to actually put up on screen for you, and to have them actually sit still like that for just a couple of seconds is actually quite amazing. So I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, we better get going. Right, now I'm going to have to race onto the open plains because the sun is not waiting for me, and I believe that Brent has got another good view of Hosana.
There's young Hosana. He's just having a bit of a snooze now after his very dismal attempt to hunt terrapins. Very, very happy. I've just heard Shongile has found not very far from here, and she is not far away from here at all. She's about 800 meters, 900 meters, lying on top of a termite mound. Let's try a new spot. Here we go. Here's young Hosana. Now, I'm hoping he doesn't go to the south. So still no sign of Karula. So that report I had of Karula just to the south of us was incorrect. It was actually Shongile. So Shongile is on top of a termite mound to the south of us. No sign of Queen Karula for a while now. Such a good-looking young boy. Hi, Jamie. Jamie is wondering, are the spots on a leopard like a fingerprint in a human? Well, each individual leopard has a unique set of spots, so I could say it is as unique as a human being's fingerprints. He's going to give himself a little clean. Oh, he's going to give us a big yawn. Remember, this is 100% live from the African bush. This is happening in real time. If you want to ask us any questions, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV via email. We're sitting with the gorgeous young male leopard, Hosana. Hosana means the little prince or the little chief. Hi, Julie, who's in California. Julie would like to know, when do male leopards start mating? Normally only around about 5 or 6 years of age. They need to disperse from their natal territory. They need to fight and take over a territory from another male before they'll be afforded mating rights from the females. So normally between 5 and 6 is probably the first time they'll mate. Of course, there are exceptions to all the rules, sometimes a little bit younger, but as a general rule, you'd have to be around 6 years old. Giving himself a good clean. Now, Rashida is wondering if Hosana had a kill and Shongile happened upon, would he share it with her? It's only if he was very, very full and he couldn't eat anymore. But generally he would try to keep the lion's share for himself. There we go. Did he hear something? Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, mister. What's going on? What did you hear? I see. We can't really see what he's looking at. There's a twin dams behind us. He might have heard something. It's so wonderful being able to just sit here peacefully with one of Africa's most elusive cats. Hello, Kathy. Kathy says, I don't know if I can see, but does he have yellow eyes? I wouldn't say they're yellow, Kathy. I'd say they're more golden. Most of the big cats have a sort of golden tinged eye. There we go, you can see it there. I wouldn't call them yellow as such. Sort of definitely a slightly more gold than yellow. We're going to sit here with young Hosana for a little bit longer, see what happens next. While we do that, Taylor's got something he's been probably eating quite a few of while his mom's been away.
I hope Hosana has caught a couple of these, because I think that they would be a very good meal. But it looks as though there's a whole family of mongoose, dwarf mongoose, that we were looking for earlier, that are running around here looking for, I think, one last bit to eat before they head on home, because sadly the sun disappeared behind the horizon before we could see it. It's very sad. Let's see if we can call them. I'm obviously not the mongoose whisperer. I think Jamie's the mongoose whisperer. Oh, it's a little baby. Here's a little one. Hello. They are so precious. It is so amazing just to see so much new life around at the moment. If it's not the new vegetation that we've got, it's all these little four-legged creatures and, well, some two-legged creatures running around, and they're so precious. Hello. And you can see, oh, off it goes. Oh my goodness, what has happened there? Let's have a look at that. Did you see that? I thought I was maybe making it up. When I initially saw it, it looks like that mongoose was missing its foot. Now, I wonder how it could have happened there. I don't think it could have got into a fight. Maybe it actually looks like it was a male for a moment. I think it could have been a male, so maybe it could have been a fight. It could have maybe been snatched up by a bird or something along those lines. Maybe it got bitten by a snake. I'm not sure. We can really only speculate as to what would have happened. But I don't think it would be too disadvantaged. These animals are very efficient and are able to sort of, well, make do if they're missing a horn or a foot or a claw or anything along those lines. Even an eye, they're able to carry on and live. But they're very curious with us. Perhaps it was my mongoose whispering that I made an attempt of earlier. But you can see that little nose wiggling around, sniffing, smelling, looking. I think if I were to be an animal, I'd probably be something like a meerkat or a mongoose, just because I don't think that they have a very long attention span, and they sort of can't focus on doing one thing at a time. They're always racing around and moving, and I think that's a little bit like me. They keep popping their heads up every now and then. We can see you, little one. You're not very hidden. Now you've got your bum towards us. You can actually hear them chatting too. Can you hear those high-pitched noises? It's amazing. Hello. Oh, hang on. Oh, look at that tiny little one. Mom moving it, saying, run, run, run. Watch out for the eagles. There they all are. Now, Alana, you were actually wondering how large can a family of mongoose be? Now, I don't think there's any sort of specific number. We've seen some where there's only 2 or 3 running around, and well, this seems to be a massive group of them. There's probably about maybe between 10 and 15. Oh, there we go. There's a couple more. Maybe it's even larger than that. And I think that they are heading home now, and they've gone just like that. As quick as they were here, they've now disappeared into the distance. I actually thought that they were probably going to go and have a sleep on that fallen log that they were climbing all over. I thought that that would make a good home. Now, oh, we've got some more guinea fowl. Let's have a look at these funny-looking birds. We'll try and catch them as we go past this tree. Don't run away, guinea fowl. Where are you going? There they are. I love the way that these animals run. It's stopping just to have a little look and make sure we aren't in hot pursuit again. And off the two of them go. It's the same thing that we saw earlier. We've only really been seeing pairs. So they've moved away now from the big groups that they're normally in. I almost said the big herds. Can you believe that? A herd of guinea fowl? That's ridiculous. Now, of course, they're not herds. They're more flocks. And they're obviously mating and laying eggs and separated slightly. There you go, a couple of impala. Oh, let's go have a look at the lambs. Maybe they're going to go down and have a drink. We're actually coming up to the Djuma pan now. There's lots of little babies out in the open. Maybe we get to watch them frolicking around. I always find that the animals, especially the youngsters at this time of the evening, are full of energy and bounding around one last time before mom gets a bit strict and tells them to settle down. Here we go. Just go up a little bit further ahead. Oh my goodness, there is an array of animals here. Let's see if we can sneak a little bit closer. We're going to be able to... Hello, Impala. Inyala. Here we go. Oh, look at so many of them. All the little babies are grouped in the middle. And this time they are even more relaxed than the ones that we saw earlier. There's a little one testing its legs, bouncing around. Come on, all of you, give us a little hop and a skip. We want to see how high you can jump. And remember, if they do start bounding around, try and get a couple of screenshots as they leap about and try out their new legs. Remember, you can hashtag Safari Live if you do get any good screenshots. It doesn't have to just be jumping impala. And, well, if you don't have Twitter, you're even welcome to pop them through on an email. questions@wildearth.tv is the address you'll need to send them to. But isn't this just absolutely beautiful? All come out of the thicker vegetation, moving out into the open like they normally do at night time. And even the Inyala are joining all of the little impalas. Come on, off you go, run around. Hello, Gloria. Now, you were saying that you absolutely love Africa. And now, look, go, go, go! Go, run, baby, run! Sorry, Gloria, I'll get back to your question now. The host Riddle 3 are having a ball of a time. Now, you were saying that you love Africa, and you were wondering if I could help you tell the difference between a kudu and an inyala. Well, luckily we've got an inyala in sight, and you can see also there's an electric fence and one of the lodges, just a small fence to try and keep something like an elephant out from eating all the plants in the garden. So, inyala are smaller than kudu, and also their coloration is slightly different, but you can get confused because they've got the same white vertical stripes that go along their bodies. However, the kudu don't really have, you see the little spots on their back legs? The kudu don't have those. And also, you can see that the male inyala are dark chocolate brown with almost a yellowish colored legs, where kudu tend to be a little bit more on the grey side, a greyish brown. There's a beautiful big inyala bull. Those others were youngsters. And the kudu also has massive spiraled horns. This is, of course, the male. And the females are much lighter in colour. They're sort of not quite the colour of impala. I suppose if you took the colour of an impala and you mixed it with the colour of the chocolate brown and a bit of grey, you would get the colour of a kudu. Oh, a pair of Egyptian geese being herded by an impala saying, "Get back to your watering hole. This is our land. Stop eating our grass." I don't know if that's what the impala was saying, but I just thought it was fitting. And then, of course, like I said, the size. Kudu is almost double the size of an inyala. But hopefully we'll be able to show you some. We did see some a little bit earlier in the show. But keep watching because it's a common antelope that we see on a regular basis. However, it's like I said, they look a little bit similar, and of course they're in the same family, the Tracholaphus family, the spiraled horned antelope family, along with the bushbuck. So those three, when you're starting out and learning the different animal species out here, it's of course very, very easy to get confused. So don't feel too bad. The more you watch, the better you'll get, and keep asking these questions if you need some help. Now, I hope you've enjoyed your afternoon. For me, it's been a very, very special drive tonight. It's gone so quickly and I've had so much fun, and I hope you all have too. But it's now time for myself and VM to say goodbye to you. But don't worry, we'll see you on the sunrise safari tomorrow morning. So have a good evening, but I'm sure Brent wants to try and get you probably one last look at a Hosana. So let's go back over to him.
And he's off on a mission, little Hosana. Oh, there he goes. Let's just move around. Where's he got to? Where's he got to? Where's he gone? Looks like he might head south across our boundary. He's suddenly up and at him. Hi everyone. Hi Makangan. Yeah, so he is heading towards the boundary. We're just going to shoot around. Now Shongile is pretty much over there somewhere, on just over that ridge. Hello, Cypria. Cypria is wondering what will happen when Hosana becomes big. Will he then become known as the Big Prince? No, I think he will stay as the Little Prince, Cypria. We're not going to change his name when he gets older. Oh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Naughty. Naughty Hosana. So unfortunately this is an access road, and things do accidentally fall off vehicles from time to time. And he has got himself a little toy. Naughty kitty. Oh, at a young leopard this age, anything that moves in the wind is something to play with. Clown. Oh, and there he goes. And he's now crossed our boundary. Off he scampers to the south. We'll see if we can get one last view of him. But I think he's going to disappear. No, I think we're going to move on. Leave him be. Bye-bye, Mr. Hosana. He's disappeared into the thickets there. Oh no, he's popped back up. Unfortunately, he has left his toy behind. Now he is heading in the direction where Shongile is. Still no sign of Queen Karula. Bye-bye, mister. Okay, we're going to leave him be now and try move on. Well, great to know that both sets of the cubs are okay. Always good to hear. Oh, we got a bit of a traffic jam here. Let's just pull over. Oh, hey, Minjan. Ah, Vogel. Hi, everyone. Bye, everyone. Okay, there we go. great to know that both Hosana and Shongile are doing well, even though Mom has been absentee for some time. It's going to be very interesting to see if she joins up with them. I'm quite certain she will, so I wouldn't worry too much. I think she will be providing for those little leopards for a while yet. Now we are coming towards the end of the sunset safari, and it's been a spectacular day. The Nkuhumas have been back. We've seen Tingana, we've seen Hosana, and of course the most important thing is the killer bees broke their bird record this morning with 43 different species on a single game drive. The magic number 50 is coming soon, maybe even on tomorrow's sunrise safari, so join us and say goodbye.